I'm Jimmy, and I sing in the band Polar Bear Club.
You're in the loop with what?
Everything, man. Seriously, with bands, with anything. I always feel like someone comes up to me and is like, "Yo, have you heard this band or that band?" And I never have, you know. I think there's a lot of bands, though. I mean, people don't realize how many bands there are out there. I'm just bad at keeping up.
Your sound, I find very evocative of hard music, as Friends Rust, stuff like that.
Yeah.
I grew up with that kind of stuff. It isn't as easy doing what you're doing than it is to just do an old school hardcore record, you know?
I mean, I think so. I think like what comes out and what people take from Polar Bear Club, like you say hot water music, you know, we hear like Small Brown Bike and stuff like that. I don't think we really plan that. I think what Polar Bear Club is just what comes out when we get together, you know. I mean, that's just the stuff we write. It just, I think, happens to sound like those bands, you know. I love all those bands, you know, and I mean, obviously without them, you know, we probably wouldn't sound the way we do. They're huge influences on us. But I don't think we really plan that, you know. I think that's something for the fans to really decide, you know. But, you know, that's just what comes out when we get together and play songs, so.
What have you accomplished so far in your career, I guess? Is more than you expected?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, if I think back to when this band first started, I mean, it started as a side project that we were going to do, you know, part-time, do a couple weekend tours here and there, and now we're touring like, you know, 7-8 months out of the year, and people are just, you know, I mean, we never played. We just did a full U.S. like for like 2 months. We never played California or Arizona or any of those places. And to go to those places and people were going off for us, you know. I mean, it's a testament to, you know, the internet nowadays and MySpace, whatever. But I mean, I never thought I'd go play San Francisco for the first time and have, you know, a sold out show and people go crazy. You know. It's really cool.
Syracuse is not only known for upbeat music, it's more, you know.
Crisis and
yeah.
I don't know, actually. I mean, for a while, like straight up hardcore was like really thriving in Syracuse, and I'm from Rochester, about an hour away from Syracuse, so like the same type of thing. And I don't know. I think if anything's like dominant for a while, I think eventually something's gonna come out to counter that, you know. And so I think the heavy like mosh or like metal or whatever, or straight up hardcore was really big for a while, and then, you know, people are just like, well, let's try something else, see how that goes, you know. So I mean, right now there's still like really good hardcore bands in Syracuse, like Another Breath and Forfeit. But I mean, you know, these kind of like more positive, I guess, punky, you know, bands are just kind of popping up here and there, you know, because of hot water music and stuff like that, you know.
What experiences did you have in the heavier Syracuse scene? The Earth Crisis, the God Below, stuff like that?
Well, I'm a little bit younger than that, so I kind of missed out on, you know, Earth Crisis, you know, in the Syracuse heyday. You know, I probably missed that scene by like 3 or so years. When I started going to shows, you know, I mean, it was like when Another Breath was just starting out. There was this band from Rochester called Stand Fast that was like big. And you may have heard of this band, How We Are. They're from Rochester. They were kind of a bigger hardcore band. So when I really started to go to shows, the vibe was actually really positive, you know. And I mean, for Syracuse for a while was known for, you know, fights at shows. And I think when I first started to go to shows, that was kind of starting to die out. So I don't know. It's kind of all I know, I guess.
You're on Bridge 9 Records?
No, not officially anything really right now. We're talking to them and we're talking to other labels as well. So nothing's really like. There's no contracts or anything drawn up yet. So.
How hot has the bidding war gone at this point?
It's been okay. I mean, we talked to Equal Vision, we talked a little bit to Side One, we talked to Bridge 9, and you know, people are definitely interested. I think we were like kind of proclaiming the part-time band for a while, and then when we decided to go full-time, I think a lot of labels were kind of waiting for that announcement, you know, and when they heard that, they showed a lot more interest than when we were just, you know, doing weekend tours here and there. But, you know, it's been good, exciting, and kind of unexpected, so.
What kind of values do you guys represent as a band?
Really, I think just, as cheesy as it sounds, like, have fun, you know, like, I think for me personally, going to a show and I see a lot of bands, and you know, mostly hardcore bands or punk bands, and like you never see them smiling. You know, a lot of times they're doing like this tough guy kind of facade, and I just don't relate to that, you know. So I think I just want music to stay fun and emotional, you know, and expressive and true, I guess, to us. So I guess that, I mean.
Do you think that, I guess, how positive or how, you know, negative a band is, has to do more with, I guess, the upbringing of the members, their life experience, or a persona that they choose to put on?
You know, it's probably both, honestly, because sometimes we've toured with or met really heavy bands that get on stage and, you know, they're just like, bro, you know, fuck shit up, you know, and then off stage they're goofballs, you know, like total awesome dudes. So sometimes, you know, I wouldn't say a facade, but maybe just a persona, you know, that's the type of music they're into and they want to play, and they kind of, when they take the stage, that's what they want to express to the audience. But you know, maybe other cases it's people were brought up a certain way, and that's the type of music that's therapeutic to them, and that type of attitude, you know, is what they want to do. And I don't know, it could be anything really. It's not me, you know, and I mean, just, I guess that's why I don't really relate to it as much.
Now, your generation, what, I guess, are the, you know, problems facing kids of your generation?
I don't know. I think in America, it's so different than Canada. Definitely, I think the arts, you know, were definitely in danger, you know, under the Bush administration. The Canadian radio is really supportive of, you know, Canadian bands. It's not that way in America at all. And so I think my generation has that to kind of press through. You know, I've heard this and that about, you know, the next administration kind of maybe changing that. I was reading something about, you know, free healthcare for musicians or something like that under Barack Obama. And so maybe that's changing, but I don't know, man. It's getting harder and harder to kind of make the music you want to hear, as opposed to conforming to radio-friendly, you know, pop-type music. I think from an outside perspective, maybe the arts weren't really understood by the Bush administration and the importance of, you know, the arts. You know, so it could have just been that, you know, I mean, it's...
Are you all, you know, believer, connoisseur in certain conspiracies?
I don't know, I mean, it's hard to say, like, I know there's like, I was just watching this documentary on 9/11 and how it may have been a conspiracy, and some, you know, there was like some evidence that, you know, maybe suggested that it was prior knowledge to the attacks, but I'm not sure if it was, you know, a straight up conspiracy. I think things were ignored, you know, stuff like that happens, but I mean, who really knows, you know, I don't know, I just don't really concern myself with that sort of thing.
Are you concerned about, let's say, being on a label with bands that, I guess, aren't as broad in their sound as you are?
Yeah, a little bit. Not too much though, because I think, you know, the label doesn't make the band, you know, and I think that, you know, a label can kind of throw a curveball at their fans and be like, well, we're signing this band now, and it can be attention-getting. And so I think that can be cool, but I think, you know, the band makes the band, you know, so, I mean, I don't think if we signed to a label with a bunch of, you know, death metal acts or something, I don't think people would associate us with that too much, you know, just, you know, because we're not changing, you know, for anybody, so.
Who's the toughest member in Polar Bear Club?
The toughest? Definitely me. No, definitely not me. Toughest member? It's probably our drummer, Emmett. Maybe because he's a dick. But I know the best way possible.
Could you recount a story or two of, you know, him proving his toughness?
Maybe. I mean, just a couple nights ago, we were at the Tolls in New York City, and the person at the Tolls was giving us some grief, and he just kind of told him to fuck off. And we had to pull over and thought we were all going to jail, but if we didn't, we got off scot-free. So.
So being tough pays off in the end.
Yeah, it does. Oh, I mean, especially like he's the guy who does like the band business and stuff, so it really pays off there, you know.
Yeah. Any good negotiation story of him, you know, muscling?
Not so much muscling, but just confident, you know. So I mean, you know, negotiation type stuff is usually pretty, you know, positive. You know, just as long as you're confident and you know what you want and stick to it. You know, no one gets really hot-headed or anything, but he's really good at that aspect of the band.
Would you like to give a shout out to a little word of thanks before we're done?
Just want to thank Cancer Bats for bringing us on this awesome tour and hopefully letting us play to some people we wouldn't play to prior. You know, definitely playing to a lot of new people in Canada on this tour, so it's really exciting.
That's it?
Yeah.
Good man.